it.
Yeah.
So what have you brought in and what are we talking about today?
So here we've got a very exciting new product. It's called the OPXY. So it's our latest and greatest. It's the next product in the OP series. So obviously we've got the OP1 field, we've had the OPZ, and now we've got OPXY. So it's very exciting for us, and I think we should crack it.
Can you unsheath it for me?
Let's do that.
Let's do it. And the packaging's always good, isn't it? It's exciting. I was sold on the KO too, just with the box.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah,
So I think we're quite detail oriented on the boxes.
Yes, and it's a rare. You're the first person we've had actually employed by Teenage Engineering, right?
Yeah.
So we get horse's mouth right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Little quick start guide, and there she is.
There's loads more on it than I thought.
Yeah.
Is it bigger than OP1 field or not? It's the same form factor.
Exactly the same dimensions.
Right.
Yeah.
So you crammed a lot more in. You take it away, Will. I'm too excited.
So here it is. This is OPXY.
Yep.
So the idea is OP1 field. It's a take-based workflow.
Shout out to my man Will. We live. We watching this. We're gonna watch this.
Expression as you're playing it, right?
Straight up
Mistakes,
4K live,
things that
baby.
you kind of mess up here and there that make the character kind of extra and wonderful, and it's a bit more singer-songwriter in that way. When you get into a room as a singer-songwriter, you want to capture that feeling, that expression. That's what OP1's great at.
Let's go.
Whereas OPXY is the German beat machine. It's precise. It's on point. It does exactly what you want, exactly when you want it. It's much more of a pragmatic synthesizer, and so that's why it's black and sleek and grayscale, and it gets to the point every time. And so that's kind of where we see it. OP1 sits as the perfect synthesizer and keyboard for people who want to capture an expression and a feeling, and OPXY is when you want to get
Shout
on
out to my
stage
man
and
Will teaching
get
us the
get your bass line going and rock the.
What's good, baby? We watching this.
So sequencing is at the heart of it.
Exactly.
We watching
Right.
this.
It's sort of
Let me get this
grayscale
right.
along the
I think it's
centre of the
working.
device.
Wait.
And that's your step sequencer. So it's there. It's immediate. It's just above the keyboard.
Yeah, we
You
working.
can just punch stuff in and get going.
We're just gonna watch this again.
Well, I'm gonna let you just take it away, mate. 'Cause
Let's
as
go,
I
Will.
said, you
Let's
wrote
go.
the documentation there for this.
Yeah.
So I feel very fortunate. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. From now on, let's go. Take it away, Will. So we are plumbed in. Turn this bad boy on, please, Will. Let's get going. Nice, crisp. It's monochrome. Screen. We've got a black and white screen.
Yeah. So the whole device is monochrome, with the exception of the pop of red. So it is like a colour LCD screen, but we figure that the monochrome allows you to be a bit more German and pragmatic, and it matches the
And
device,
shoulder gun.
of course. I think aesthetically it's very beautiful. We went with this sort of partly geometric aesthetic to everything, and it's very pragmatic in a lot of ways. So you'll see that as we go through the device. But should we load up a track and give that a listen?
And I just want to hear what you like about it as well.
Yeah. So I think just from like a workflow perspective, for me, having come from initially the pocket operators and the OP1, I think step sequencing is such a fun and powerful workflow. And there's just something about the sequencer in the OPZ in particular that I absolutely loved. And when we were doing the OPXY, we took a lot of inspiration from the OPZ. All of the great stuff that we love about the OPZ and that our fans love about the OPZ.
We love the
we
OPZ.
took and we rammed it into the OPXY. And then we figured out ways of doing it even better. So there's things that were frustrations and I wish it could do this. And we took, I would say, pretty much all of those and put them into the OPXY. So it really is like everything you need at your fingertips, and I think that's what makes it really special.
How long were you working on it for, do you think?
So it's been about a 2.5 year project overall, but I think the sort of sketches for it have been around for quite a while. We always think about what the next thing that we might want to make is and how can we improve on what we've already done. And I think with the OPXY, it was very much a thing of, we had all this feedback from OPZ. I wish it was this, I wish it was that. And we kind of, we always read the feedback, always. And give that a listen.
And I just
We're
want
gonna
to
try
hear
to
what
get
you
into-
like about it as well.
Yeah, so I think just from like a workflow perspective, for me, having come from initially the pocket operators and the OP1, I think step sequencing is such a fun and powerful workflow, and there's just some
And we're skipping around. We got
instrument and auxiliary. The light changes to red.
We
to
know
kind
all
of
that.
Let you know if you're in white, it's an instrument. If you're in red, you're an auxiliary.
Red.
So it's one of those
Just,
workflow
locking
things
down
that
some things.
immediately you're like,
White and red.
wait, where am I? Oh, okay.
red,
it's
white,
It's
red,
on
white,
track.
red, white,
Got it.
red, white.
Easy.
Red,
Above
white,
those, you've
red,
obviously
white. We
got
know
the
that.
color-coded encoders. In this case, they're color-coded grayscale, which I think looks very stunning. It can be a little bit confusing when you're saying to someone, turn the grey knob, and then, they're turning the grey knob, but you're not sure which one. But, we go with dark grey, mid-grey, light grey, and white.
And you did let slip before we started filming.
So far, me?
Have you mentioned
It depends if
how
you count
get
the OPZ.
Yeah,
If
so
you count the
in fact,
OPZ, we
it's
got like
a
thousands.
grayscale. So because we wanted
But
to
I
have
guess
these sort
if
of
not, you could just
in-between
check all these live
colors.
streams I've
There
been
was
doing. I
nothing
probably
that quite
put
did
in.
it for us
I've had it
terms
for
of
2 weeks now.
pre-made grayscale.
Enough.
So we actually worked
Just
very
locking in,
hard,
but I'm pretty much,
with our
you know,
amazing CMF guy, color material and finish designer.
enough
who
hours.
Made a custom grayscale for
My
the
whole
device,
life.
and it looks really beautiful. It's sort of like a slightly blue grey. I mean, it's very slightly blue, but it's really stunning in person. And that's color matched throughout the device, so both on the knobs, on the sequencer, as well as the screen and our website and everything. It's all perfectly color matched, which is really stunning. It looks great.
I love it, those little attention to details. That's what we're in it for, mate.
Yeah, as you can imagine, it took a lot of work from our graphic designers and colour designers, but I think it's all worth it at the end. So then, obviously, you've got the step sequencer running across the middle. That's your sort of grayscale section, and it's intended to pop out, so that's why you get that grayscale. It stands out, and it makes you want to play the step sequencer. Underneath that, you've got the musical keyboard, and then the transport controls. And you've got a few buttons in the top left, so that's projects. So bar's a really great addition.
You know, I just want to hear. You know, I just want to hear my
you've
man.
got 4
Listening
jacks
to my
and
man.
a USB-C
Shout out, Will.
connector. So you've got the main
My dog.
It's like a really nice output. We use great DACs as always.
My dog.
Equally on the OPXY, it always sounds fantastic. You plug it into a sound system and it sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way of explaining it. You've got to hear it. And then you've got the multi-out connector. So this is kind of a...
Sorry, I'm reaching you. Keep talking, mate.
Yeah, go for it. So it's kind of like a magical, a magical connector, because our electronic engineers put a huge amount of work to cram 4 features into one jack. So you can actually select what it does. Rather than just being a fixed output, you select MIDI, CV gate, sync, or audio. So you can pick one of those 4 and then output it from the multi-out. So depending on what kind of musician you are, if you're a Eurorack user, or even like, you know, wanting to send out to various effects pedals, external effects, you name it, you can do that with the multi-out jack, which is really powerful. Then you've got a MIDI in and then audio in. So obviously for sampling, you can return effects, return audio, plug mics in, you name it. Really powerful. And then you've got the USB-C connector, which serves a sort of dual purpose. It's both for obviously charging and power, but then if you connect it into a computer, you can, you know, use it as an audio interface, as you've done with past devices from Teenage. But equally, it acts as a sort of host, like a computer. So if you plug an interface into it, it will receive audio from the interface and send audio to the interface, powering it, powering your mics, etc. It's class compliant, so depending on what interface you have, it's got drivers or whatever, it could not work, but for the most part, if it's a class compliant interface, should be good to go.
That's the first on the OP.
So actually, the OP1 field also does that,
Right.
but not many people really realise that potential. So I think that's one of the kind of bigger features that we never really talk about. That's kind of quite exciting.
Yeah, so I could have a class compliant audio interface with XLR inputs and it would do it.
like
That's
it
wild.
goes in and out. And then equally, because it's a MIDI host, you can plug a keyboard into it or a controller into it, power the keyboard or controller, just as though you're plugging it into a laptop. So that's really powerful as well. And so those two sort of in combination effectively turn it into a very portable workstation. I mean, you almost don't need a computer anymore. And obviously that in combination with the amazing workflow and sound of the machine. But those sort of extra features take it the extra mile, where you can just turn up at the studio, plug into the system and just go. So that's pretty amazing.
When you said internal sounds, in terms of instruments, sorry, I know you're going to say it, but what are the inspiration behind the instruments in there?
Yeah, so I think, you know, each engine always has a very unique sound. So it comes with 8 built-in synth engines, and most likely we'll get more of those in future as we kind of figure out what we want to put in. As you know, we sort of sprinkle stuff in here and there.
Yeah.
When we've got an idea and when we've got the time to put it in, we'll just sit down and knock it out of the park. But I think kind of the idea with this is that you've just got all the sounds that you want and need at your fingertips. You know, you've got sounds that kind of almost mimic the perfect Juno pads, and you've got, you know, the super fat basses and thick deep basses and everything in between. You know, it's all in there. And the really nice thing about the workflow on the OP1 field and the OPXY is that you can pinch around, get that sound dialed in perfectly just by ear, because we put all the controls that you want and need for a sound right there. You don't have to mess around with 30 different parameters. And sometimes it's a bit experimental. You know, you might turn a knob and not know exactly what it's doing, and that's great as well. So that's the kind of idea behind the engines. But each one of them obviously has a very unique aesthetic, a very unique sound, and I think you'll hear that. But equally with the XY, what I love about it is that it's so broad in genres of what you can create. You know, I saw that a little bit with the OPZ, and equally with the OP1. Every musician that picks it up is going to do something different, right? But I think with the XY, it's got an even broader range than both of them, where, you know, I've had mine for quite a few months now, and the tracks that you produce, you can do everything from really soft pop right the way through to really heavy hard electronica, you know, like proper IDM stuff, and that's a really nice range to have.
Well, let's get cooking, mate. Let's hear some of these sounds and see. I want to see more of this screen, because at the moment I just figured out it was black and white, and I genuinely haven't seen it, so I want to
absolutely.
let's dig in.
Well, what genre of stuff do you want to hear? 'Cause I can load up one of the factory projects. And,
Yeah, do that, yeah,
and
go with
go
your
with
eyes,
that,
yeah.
So let's have a look.
Oh, that's cool, just even having names, project names.
Yeah, it's quite awesome. And to go alongside that, so obviously you can name the projects on the device, but one of the really great features about OPXY is the number of projects. So because the projects are all stored as note data, obviously on OP1 field you're recording audio, so it's audio data, that takes a lot of, you know, a lot of storage to put those in there. But these are all note data, so they take up a relatively small amount of space, which means that you can store not 5 or 10 or 50 or even 100, but thousands to tens of thousands of projects.
Come on.
Which is pretty music. And obviously, depending on how many samples you put in there, so it's a sort of shared storage, 8 gigabytes. Depending on how many samples you put in there, that might reduce the number of projects. But even then, with a load of samples, you're never going to get more than, any less than 1,000, let's say. And as a musician, I'd be hard pressed to produce 1,000 songs in my lifetime.
I ain't gonna do it.
So the nice thing is you don't have to be so precious with stuff.
That's cool.
Which is great. You can just make a sketch. Okay, that was fun. Let me save it. And maybe
And speaks to that live element you're talking about, just having like different sets.
Yeah,
That must be mind-blowing for people.
And to go along with that, you can kind of see it here, it's greyed out. So this is a totally fresh unit, but you can see it here greyed out. There's a history button. So with each project, as you create it, you can save. And that save goes into the history folder for the project. So you can turn back time, so to speak, and listen to your project from 2 years ago and how it is now. And equally, you could duplicate it, turn it into a live set, mess it up in one set, and then just turn back time and fix it.
Love it.
So super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Cool.
But let's load the project up. So I don't know how you're feeling. Entropy's pretty fun. That one changes every time. It's really wacky. So I'll load that up. It loads up pretty much instantaneously. So if I take us to the arrange view, you can see it's got lots going on. I'll just hit play. And this one's a great example of the step components on the device. So as you may be familiar with it, you see the step components allow you to sort of vary a sequence, right? So I'm not going to say much more. I'll hit play and then maybe we can get into what it's doing.
Back to normal speed. Let's go, Will, dropping those IDM jams.
Now, whether you're buying a new Mac this year or you just want to make your old Mac feel new again, and that's why I partnered up with Clean.
Is this a factory one?
Yeah.
Check.
Yes! Oz is in the game now. This is a whole new world in terms of what is this? Explain what we're seeing on the screen, please. And this, this is blowing my mind a bit.
Yeah, so a little bit of what you heard there.
Yeah.
Effectively, it was an amazing beta tester who wrote this track, and he's a master with step components and sound design as far as I'm concerned. But he sort of created this track to be different every time you play it. So literally every time you hit play, it's a completely different song, which is pretty ridiculous. But as far as I understand it, because my knowledge of what he's doing is probably about this deep, but as far as I understand, he's created a series of scenes. Each scene has a sort of different layout of, sounds.
That's the cool thing is we got these like step
and
components,
step components on.
I'm gonna stop it and just gonna make a little 4-bar pattern. Let's get a new sound. Let's hear my man Digitone 2 sounds on track 3. So we're gonna just do, if we hold down bar, we can do a 4-bar pattern just to show, so. And if we hit shift in there, we can hit a step component, so we could hit a ramp up. Let's see. Just let it start playing for us. That's pretty much what he's demonstrating, is that it can do whatever we want.
And so as it passes through those scenes, it basically completely changes the track. And then obviously in combination with the step components, which are pretty much randomizing what you
I don't know, I just figured maybe I should put this on.
Really wild.
Yeah.
Learn it.
And this number in the middle, when it was changing 1, 2, 3, are those the scenes?
Exactly, and you get 99 scenes. So per track you get 9 patterns, and each pattern, we call it preset per pattern. So in each pattern, it stores the preset and the notes. So that means that you can switch pattern, but equally switch sound on the next pattern. So as you compose a song, you could completely change the sound of the song through.
See, that's what I was thinking. I'm gonna build some I want to build some patches where I just pull up to the studio and all right, here's a bunch of basses, here's a bunch of leads, because you could just go from scene. If for instance, we got but then I could duplicate it, copy and paste, but now I could change synth. So say we just go back to the synth and I hit shift 3. Now I could just go same thing. Let's go lead. I thought I could. Oh, it's muted. So bring it back. That's the cool shit. I feel like, so then watch, now I'm gonna go to this next synth. So I could do the same thing again. Maybe go to, oops. Then I could turn it to an organ. So, did I mute it again? Yep, it's muted. Muted. Still kind of getting used to some of these things. There we go. That's fire. So I could go. Oops. Fire.
That song as you move through the patterns.
And live, that's
Yo, welcome, dog. Thank you.
Powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where we
And if you're
communicate.
clever about it, you can do some really cool things. So we'll touch on the samplers a bit later.
Yeah.
But there's some really cool ways of inserting vocals and audio clips into it, and then that in combination with the presets per pattern allows you to just kind of change those vocals as you go through the song. So if you're performing a track that's got vocals or needs clips from another synth or whatever, you can just load those up on each of the patterns and then have it cycle through the song.
Right, so 9 patterns, and so I cut you off a bit
That's all
there. I'm going to be guilty of doing that all
That's
day.
fine.
Sorry, mate. So
That's great.
9 patterns, and then the scenes, how do they integrate with the
Yeah,
pattern?
so the idea is that you get 99 scenes, right?
Yeah.
And what you put into each of those scenes is completely up to you. And by default, they're all sort of set to pattern 1, unmuted everything.
Oh, I should try
But
the
the scenes
telephoto.
store
Let me
both
try
mutes
something.
and
I'm
patterns.
trying to get better.
So
That's
you
why
can
I'm on.
select the
I want to try
pattern,
this
mute
telephoto.
other patterns,
Oh, you can
whatever
see the
you
screen
like,
pretty good.
And they will
Let me try some
sync
shit.
to whatever the longest pattern is. So that will be the length of the scene. And then you can, of course, chain scenes by holding
Check.
Shift and pressing Arrange. And then you get this sort of scene chainer, or song mode, as we call it, that then allows you to sort of go between them and, arrange your
That
song.
looks pretty good.
Every OPC's owner's dreams.
Yes. Yeah.
It is our dream.
It's pretty amazing.
It is true.
Yeah, and when you were explaining this, the bath, as a OPZ owner before,
Yeah.
and kind of when I wanted to go above 16 steps, I used to find, as I remember correctly,
Yeah.
you'd have to imagine the resolution
Exactly.
in between.
But should we have a look?
Yes, is that right?
Let's go.
Thank you.
Let's
Yeah.
This
do
was a.
project. So,
See, well, yeah, we're gonna go, but the OPZ. Let's start a new. Let's go to 1. We got our little. We can mute that now. I'm gonna mute that for some drums. We're gonna go.
I'll just go into
I'm
project.
so spoiled. This is amazing.
It's
Let's
true.
go into project.
All right,
and
we're gonna
then
do the
create a
same
project.
thing. Let's go. New. We
So
know
it's
how.
as simple as that. Now
we
we can go
did
into the instrument mode. By default,
Instrument.
it will take us to track 1. And we put some kind of default sounds in there for you. So 2 drum kits in case you want to have a variety of different sounds, kind of vary things up a bit. Then you get a bass, some sort of pads and leads and whatever on the others. But if we start with a drum kit, this is kind of like a nice way of showing this stuff off. Right?
Yeah.
We're
So
just gonna
obviously you can
lock it
select
in,
the sound and then sequence it. Easy peasy.
Let's see.
Turn the metronome off, so I'll just hit metronome.
Metronome.
Click
I'm already
the
with
mic
him. With you.
Turn it off. Go
See
back
if we
into
can do-
instrument,
let's
and then,
go.
Got our 4 on the floor. Now we can add a hi-hat.
Let's go.
That onto the thirds. At this point, you go, I want to add a snare drum, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one of those OPXY features that I think
There we
the
go.
OPZ
We
was
followed.
begging for, and we've heard all of your feedback, and OPXY has it. So you can hold down a sound,
Yep.
tap record,
Yep.
and then it will show you just the sequence for that sound.
All right, so we're just locking these into memory, So let's do that
And
again.
this is one of those things that you go,
So we're gonna
wait,
hold that
why
down.
don't all sequences do this, right?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously it should be able to do this. So then you just put it into the grid. The moment you let go, it takes you out.
That's such a good thing. I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Because before I'd have to run, I could never be.
Yeah.
I'd have to kind of do a bit of guesswork.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen
but
to it
then
a few
you can
times.
just fly around, and that's
Yeah.
the great thing. Is that there's no sort of restrictions on
Right,
how
cool.
you sequence, what you sequence. It's all just there. So then let's get into the bar. So if I hold bar, hold shift and press plus, it'll duplicate
we know.
onto the next bar.
Oh, I got to learn how to do that better. Hold bar and press shift, and it'll duplicate to the next bar. press plus, hold bar. Oh, that's automatic. No.
And then, you know, got our 4 on the floor.
Let's go back.
Now we can add a hi-hat.
We did that.
Thirds.
Just locking it into memory, baby.
Drum, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one of those OPXY features that I think the OPZ was begging for, and we've heard all of your feedback, and OPXY has it. So you can hold down a sound, tap record, and then it will show you just the sequence for that sound.
That's good.
This is one of those
so there's my snare in the 2 and 4. Tap record. Hold down a sound, right? Tap record. Nothing on it.
Like, you know,
tap.
Obviously it should be able to do this.
It's a good one. Important.
So then you just put it into the grid.
Tap.
The moment you let go, it takes you out.
That's such a good thing. I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Because before
Tap
I'd
record.
have to run, I could never be...
Yeah.
I'd have to kind of do a bit of guesswork.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen
but
to
then
it
you can just fly around. And that's the great thing.
We flying,
There's
baby.
no sort of restrictions on how you see
We flying, baby. Let's go.
So then let's get into the bar. So if I hold bar, hold shift and press plus,
hold
it'll
bar.
duplicate onto the next bar.
Hold bar, press hold bar. I'm missing that one. Hold on.
If you don't...
Sorry, y'all. You know.
The moment you let go, it takes you out.
That's such a good thing. I get it. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
My man's
before
stoked.
I'd have to run. I could never be... I'd have to kind of do a bit of guesswork.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen
but
to it a few
times. But then you can just fly around. And that's the great thing. Is that there's no sort of restrictions on how you sequence, what you sequence. It's all just there. So then let's get into the bar. So
all right, I gotta get
if
this.
I hold bar, hold shift and press plus, it'll duplicate onto the next bar. So now, let go of both, and if I tap bar, you switch to bar 2, and you'll see that it's now copied
there we go.
across.
I did it.
If you don't hold shift and you just press plus, it'll just add another bar.
Gotta hold shift. So let's move it to 3. Hold on, stop, Will. Let's make it 4. Hold bar. Let's see, we should have 4 bars. Let's go. Let's just lay it on. Cool. So now if I want those cymbals gone. Oh shit. Fire. Let's make it 2 bars. So that's dope. Alright. Important.
Keep it going and add some sort of variation.
So let's remember that. Let's remember that. Let's just make a new one quickly new one. So I'm gonna go. Now we got 2 bars. Cool. Same thing. Yeah, Will's the man. This is the homie right here. He's the man.
A hi-hat and
we owe it to him to watch this 2-hour video. By the time we got these 2 hours down, we're gonna really be flying. I mean, they made this shit. This is the shit you really got to listen to. 2 years ago, I had this thing in my hand.
And those in. And then
almost a year and a half. We did that.
Easy.
Yep.
Right. So it's very fast. It's very immediate. The step sequence is right there, and we've done a lot of things like that allow you to just fly around the device.
Flying.
So there we've got a little bit of a drum beat going.
Maybe
we want to add a bass line. We're going to come out and say this probably isn't going to be the best track you've ever heard because we're making it on the fly.
Beautifully.
But it's nice to see the workflow and understand.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure everyone at home is much more creative and inspired than this is going to be. But let's see what we can make. Maybe it's cool.
Let's go, Will.
So here we've got a nice bass line, kind of bread and butter bass.
Sorry to be because I'm a fanboy.
Sure.
Before you were playing samples.
Yeah.
You said it's got 8 gig memory.
Yes.
Is it a separate sampler instrument you're
Yes.
using? And
So this is actually one of the really cool things that we've added to XY, which we've never done on any of sort of this range of products. At least you see it a bit with the KO2, I suppose, but you get more of a sample library with OPXY. So with the drum sampler, you pick a slot and you load a sample to it.
Yep.
So you get 24 sample slots rather than one sample chopped up 20 seconds into multiple divisions, and each sample can be a maximum of 20 seconds.
Oh, so you're not using that like online editor to
Exactly.
put it all together. You can
Bingo,
just,
you just
that's
put it on.
very cool.
Which is quite awesome.
And for anyone who's got an existing sample library, that's just an absolute win.
Easy
Yeah,
peasy.
cool.
And what's nice as well is that you just select a sample, hold shift, press sample,
Oh,
and load
sick.
it in.
Oh,
I haven't done that yet.
Structure. Oh my god.
Easy peasy.
That's gonna be fire. So I guess like what I could do. Let's see here. No, we're gonna get back to. No, let's just do it once. Hold shift. What do you say? Hold shift, press sample. So sick. So then you go into the. That's gonna be dope once we load that with more sounds too, kind of like we're doing with the KO. We got those same sounds ready to go. So that's gonna be good. We're gonna have these like double. Like I've been working on my KO. So y'all been here. I think where I'm working on my KO sounds. Like this is gonna be my drummer, and that's gonna be like all the rest. So I can just show up with nothing. So we've been working on these kits, and then if you USB these motherfuckers together, one starts the other. You know the deal. You know the deal, gang. You know the deal, gang. Why is it still?
And then, like that's loading stuff on. If you want to sample straight into it, you just press sample and you go straight into sampling.
Yeah, we just hit
which
sample.
is pretty amazing. No
I
need to
turned it
faff
off.
about with menus and diving and whatever. It's just one button. So that's the drums. And then, onto the bass. Bread and butter bass. Let's record it. So another way that you can record on the device is if you hold record, you can do what's called step recording.
Yeah, that shit's ill.
So a bit like, I'm trying to think what a good equivalent would be, like the SH-101, where you can record in a sequence and then it will play it back.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. So if I hold record,
we could do that.
instant 80s.
Yeah.
Instant 80s banger. But yeah, so there we've got a sort of bass sequence recorded, and here's maybe a good opportunity to.
So we got our. So we hit record, and like you can hit plus minus.
Show the track scaling. So if I hit play, I'm just going to change the track scale and you'll hear how that affects the sequence that's already recorded. Now you can of course do this before recording, and then that will allow you to have a sort of lower resolution, or higher, I guess lower or higher, depends on how you think about it, but it will play back each step a bit slower. And so that in combination with the bars, 4 sort of pages as you would, allows you to sequence up to, I think it was 1,024 bars worth. No, beats, not beats.
See, it slows down. That's fire. Because you really just start playing the thing once you get once you really.
Which is pretty amazing. 64 bars worth of stuff is a lot. So, let's hear it.
That's tough. Halftime, double time right away. Tough. Let's go, Will. Let's go. Let's go. We up. We learning. Beep, 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 beep. So same thing.
So you kind of get the idea that as you increase that track.
Let's do some. Let's erase that. You hold down record. we're just doing this. That's tough right there. That's tough. Tough.
Scale, suddenly this one bar can turn into, a whole, 16 bars?
Yep.
Yeah, which is pretty nuts. So then...
Basically that, if you do the right things, it can just play for you.
Sequences, and you want more space to do that. The track
and you can sequence all that. So again, remember, we're going to stop you for a sec, Will. We got our... So if we go back to our shit, we're on track 3, we copy and paste it. So I think I could now go, there we go. Let's turn the delay off. Oops, I muted it. Let's change the preset just for fun. Ooh, that's tough. Come on. So now the same thing, remember? So sick. So we could, See, I like it because
the 4 pages
you can just get started going wild.
Allows you to kind of
and then with some...
So you get a lot of
as an OP1, I've got the old original OP one.
Yeah.
When we're in here, can I just see what's going on? So
envelope, sir.
What?
So you'll notice that you don't just get an amp envelope anymore, you get a filter envelope.
So we got a double envelope, we like that. That's right.
So if you just press
here,
the encoders,
nice.
Here.
You switch between
That's
the two,
cool.
which is kind of amazing, and it opens up a world.
So I can press between filter and
especially when you're playing
amp.
live, messing about with the filter and the envelope for the filter, especially when you're doing sort of acid basses. So maybe we can turn this from an 80s banger to an acid banger.
Oh, Will, you going? Let's
so
go.
If I just turn down the sustain on the filter.
Sick. That's what we're just kind of doing, right?
Release a bit.
Let's go.
Feeling a bit like Donna Summer there. Turn up the envelope, a bit more resonance.
We got the idea, We got that.
So as you can hear there, you
y'all
got
with
the
me?
filter on 3.
On 3.
So that's also a big new
Y'all
addition.
with me? Y'all with me?
Shift 3 and change what's on it, or is it?
We're gonna watch a small commercial so we can, feed the baby. Let's go.
So you get 4 different filter types. Each one has a sort of unique sound to it. So depending on what you're creating, how you want it to sound, each filter will impart a slightly different sound to it. So you get 3 low pass, 1 high pass. There's actually also a
switch the
high pass
filter,
filter
shift,
on the
ladder,
track spec,
SF.
track level as well, which you can change inside the preset settings. So if you just need that low pass as well as a bit of high pass, you can add that in the preset settings. So check out the manual for that one.
You funny, son.
It's a very useful addition, when you're kind of mixing stuff and you just need that extra high pass. Things are clashing and it's perfect. And then you've got the LFO. So then you get 4 different LFOs.
Got our LFOs,
Shift and M4, and that'll take you straight into the LFO.
And it has gyroscope stuff in it?
Oh yeah, not just does it have gyroscope stuff, but per track, the G-force accelerometer, as we call it, will modulate every track at once if you set it up. So you can set each track to have a different...
Oh, so the drums can stay still, but you could be wibbly wobbling your bass.
You could shorten the length of the drums at the same time as making the bass
Have you ever
longer.
seen this before? Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's quite sick.
Yeah.
So, for example, we could try that with what we've got already, actually. So if we set,
G-force, let's
LFO
go.
to element,
I ain't shaking.
and then the source to G for G-force.
G-force.
Then we'll go to envelope, perhaps.
Oh, the screen and the animations are so different. And how nice is it to film
envelope
monochrome as well?
filter. Oh, that's dope.
Going to set it up so that we're kind of set up for success here. And then, maybe we'll go like that. And then we'll mess up this last parameter, which is the sort of release of the drum sounds. So we'll go decay, as I guess we've called it.
Sick.
And then we will shorten that as we lift it up. I guess that's going to shorten it. We'll find out. It may make it longer.
Mate, you're so brave. It's unbelievable.
And then we'll go bass. Again, G-force accelerometer. Turn up the amount, and then we're going to go for filter, envelope, and that means that it will move the envelope, open it up as we lift the device up. So I'm just going to set that really
Let's see.
tight.
Y'all funny.
It's quite good fun.
Y'all funny.
And I had one of my colleagues who did this amazing live set at the launch, and he was just stood there holding a beer. He had his kind of pre-programmed incredible project, and he used it as another one of my colleagues dubbed a synth maraca. So he was just drinking his beer and at the same time shaking the XY and bringing layers in and out. It's just like da 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 whilst sipping beer. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
That's where it's always, I've always connected with the TE stuff for that. Like underneath is fun, but then I loved how the LFO, did it kind of know what you turned and then assigned itself? Or?
Yeah, so there I was just rotating this guy until I select the parameter that I want. So what's nice is that it shows you
Shout out to Will, we watching you now, baby.
Equally, you get this nice text that reminds you exactly of what that is.
Thanks, mate. So they're the 4 M buttons, you call them.
Yeah, so M buttons and then the encoders.
Yeah. We rock it with
so
Will, baby.
nice.
If you hear, we love you, Will. Thank you for your service to us.
Through to acid synth with one synth.
Thank you for your service to us. On behalf of the crew, we thank you for your service.
So let's start with Prism, and we can kind of play about with this on a
All right. It's 9:30 in the morning. It's looking nice out here. I'm gonna go check on this baby, and I'm gonna go come back. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put should I let this play in? Should I turn it off and come back? What do you got? I'm learning. Y'all tell me. What's better? We like leaving it on or we like turning it off and on? I need the gang to let me know. I feel like we 1/4 of the way. We got an hour and a half left. You know, locking in the technique. We've already learned 2 little things that are helping us. It's getting fluid. Seeing other people's perspectives. That's how we do it. If someone lets me know what the best way to take breaks is, I could just let this play and come back to it. But I'm going to go see mommy and do some stretching and see the baby. You heard? You heard. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to come to the Discord. One day at a time. We going to the river today. You guys want to see where I'm going today? Rio Claro, baby. I'm going to do a performance in the cave with the XY. Not now. Look at this shit. We going to the river, baby. Let's go. Straight there. Yo, if Wi-Fi's working on, they don't even have Wi-Fi. But we're going to do some shit. Alright, I'm going to take a break. Y'all want to watch this commercial for me? Real quick. Feed the baby. We're on minute 32. I'm going to stop this for now. I'll see y'all in a bit.